Every year, worldwide, about 700 young people die by suicide. That's one life lost every minute. How many of you know Toa Payoh town? Raise your hand. Good, thank you. How many of you live in Toa Payoh town? Okay, you're getting closer to it now. How many of you have children? And if they are teenagers as well? Good, thank you very much. Toa Payoh town's population is around 142,000 in a population census taken about 2 years ago. Those 700,000 lives lost is equal to about 5 times the size of Toa Payoh's population. Imagine Toa Payoh's population disappeared 5 times over in 1 year. The lives lost impact families very much. The lives lost impact societies. The lives lost impact nations. So what is the problem? What is the cause of such loss of young lives? Anxiety and depression cannot be discounted. In fact, those are the two major causes of suicide, even adults. What then is anxiety? Anxiety is a persistent feeling, emotional stress that you have failed, that you're not able to achieve what you want to achieve. And it's so overwhelming that it affects your logical thinking, it affects your relationship with people, and it even affects your feeling of life. Am I worth living? Such questions arise. And what are the causes? What are the symptoms? The symptoms of sickness, signals that emanate from these people who are affected are generally, I categorize them into 3. One is isolation. A person who's affected may withdraw himself from activities. He doesn't want to be involved with anybody else. He wants to be locked up by himself voluntarily in the bedroom, doing his own things, crying his heart out in private. Or he could have gone somewhere and disappeared. You have heard about teenagers missing, right? Even these last few days, 16 years old, 15 years old missing for a few days. Some were found after a week or so. Such could be the behaviors of teenagers. There are also times when they say, leave me alone. When parents ask and inquire, are you all right? What's wrong with you? They say, oh, don't ask me, keep me out. I don't want to get involved. Or they can be even violent, responding to parents' questions. The second signal, and all these signals come in very quietly without you realizing it, they just drift into the home, is performance, especially academic performance. Some children or teenagers can have a shallow drop in performance over time, and if the drop is shallow, parents may not even detect it at all. They may keep quiet. But in the other extreme case, if the performance nose dives immediately, parents jump up. The teenager feels very affected and he dare not face the parents. He feels that he has failed his parents, he has failed himself. And that even a deeper level of anxiety hitting him and causing him in sometimes to withdraw totally away from the family. And worse, if the parents are saying, why are you doing so bad? Can't you improve? You got to be better. You got to achieve 100%, you got to 80%. That pressure is terrible for the child. A child, when I refer to child, including teenagers. So the third one is in terms of drive. A very inspiring teenager may, over some time or over a few weeks, has no more interest in doing what he wants to do. What used to be a bubbly chap may suddenly turn away. So he has lost his drive in performance. He may go in isolation. He may interact or react very violently to parents. And the parents are the first point of contact. In schools, to the teachers, he could be behaving in a quiet manner, but of course, he got to control his temper, knowing that there are school rules to follow. So these are the quiet signals that seep into the home, signaling teenagers having problems with their mental state. And to a teenager, when he's immersed in this type of emotional problem, his mental state is very unstable. I compare it to a swarm of emotional bees stinging him. And he's trying to avoid these stings. And he's suffering the pain from some of the stings that he suffered. So here, what are the causes? What causes anxiety and depression? Generally, these 4 categories. 1 or 3 categories. Academic. We are in very high pressure society here. Academic expectation is very high. Parents, educators, schools, they want the children to do well. Performance, achievement, parents expect them to do well, and even pump them with tuition lessons, such that a teenager may not have much time for himself to wonder and develop his capability. School activities, ECAs, and so on, also pump into the child, all right? And what more? Schools are also competing for standards. Some high flyer schools are trying to push up the standard and maintain their prestige level. They expect the students to do well. So that is another angle of pushing. And among the children, I call them children as well, they're also competition with their peers. They compare each other's performance in their grades. Second, society. Society is also have pressurizing the teenagers. Especially now, today, social media is so common. And the teenagers are a lot more powerful with their thumbs than with their brains or their hands. Scroll. The left thumb is very strong. And the right finger, 1 or 2 fingers are very strong, okay, on social media. Third, identity crisis. The teenage years are the most vulnerable time in their life, in a person's life, between the age of 9 to 20. That is a time when he tries to find an identity for himself, such as, who am I? What am I dreaming to become? What do my parents want me to do? What career path do I need to pursue? These are questions that trouble their mind. In those periods, they're also starting to mature, reaching puberty and giving a lot, resulting in a lot of biological effect on the body as well. So identity crisis is one of the causes. But more importantly is the biological brain. Biology is something we cannot change. Nature has made it that way for us. All of us, if you admit you're humans, have a brain. And at the center, inner side of the brain, protected by the brain, outer brain, is an organ called the amygdala. Amygdala, A-M-Y-D-A-L-A, A-M-Y-G-D-A-L-A, amygdala. That is a sensor. It senses the signals that are coming in. People talking about you, you touch, you get a feel. That's a sensor point, which draws information and alerting the person to the dangers and the environment. And in front of the brain, there's an item called the prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex in front is something like a processor. It processes the signal sent by the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex, and the prefrontal cortex processes this information, digests the information, and works out a solution on assessing the impact of these signals, such as, is this a signal showing me danger? Is this a signal showing me pleasure, I'm safe? Or whatever it is. And then it works out the solutions and spurts out the action for the body and hands and legs to take. So the problem here is the amygdala is already developed, but in teenagers, because they have not grown up yet, the prefrontal cortex is still not developed fully. We adults have a fully developed prefrontal cortex and equally well developed amygdala. So we are logical people. They work together. The processor especially works together and give us good solutions. But in a teenager, the prefrontal cortex is still not developed. So what happens? The signals that come from the amygdala to the prefrontal cortex, the prefrontal cortex cannot process all those signals fast enough. Sometimes it just doesn't process. So what happened? The body doesn't receive any signals on how to behave, how to react, just react automatically. And usually this type of reaction is usually quite spontaneously illogical and could be violent sometimes. You have seen how teenagers sometimes react so violently. They come up with arms with knives and so on, especially suddenly. For example, teenagers in school, they take a knife or axe to chop up somebody else. Okay? So this is the biggest cause of teenage behavior and anxiety. 30 years ago, I came back from work, and in the briefcase that I took out, I saw an envelope. I was wondering, what is this envelope about? So I opened it and see what it is. Oh, it's a letter from my son. He was 18 years old that time. In this letter, he wrote with tears. He said, "Dear Dad, I've never told you this before. I'm in deep depression. I'm suffering in school." He was at A level at that time. He said, "My grade is not good. I can't make distinctions. My classmates look down on me and jeer me. My teachers do not understand me when I explain to them. My classmates isolate me from them, keep away from me. So I'm really in deep trouble. And that, I'm sorry to tell you, my road to the university is foggy. I may not reach university." He knew that our expectation for him was to get a degree. So I look at this with shock. All the while before he reached 18, from the age of 12 when he was starting secondary school, we frequently talk about his performance, about his feelings and so on. "How are you, son? How's schoolwork today? How are your friends? How's the sports today?" He said, "I'm fine." Same thing happened to my second son. "I'm fine." And they are 3 years apart. So this elder son who wrote said, "I'm fine." Little did I know that behind those two words, "I'm fine," is a storm of emotional turbulence in his mind that brought him to write this letter to me. And I respect him for being so frank to write me the letter and communicate to me. And he said, "I can only write to you. I dare not write to mom. Mommy will blow up her head when I bring such things up." So what do? I quickly organized myself. I said, this son is in a very serious anxiety state. His mind is not stable. He might do something illogical. So I sat down that night, thought about it, and started writing a reply to him. His letter was short, 1 page. I wrote a 3,000 word essay replying to him. 3,000 words. Why 3,000 words? I analyzed it later because I had to stabilize his emotion first. Because in his critical stage, I don't know what he'll do. Stabilize. Then I organized the thoughts. Every point he brought out, I make a statement on the facts and his emotional feeling from those facts. Then I anchored his mind and gave him assurance that this is not the end. You have succeeded before. This is only one of the problems you are facing now. And then, more importantly, my opening sentence was, "Dear son, I read your letter. I read your letter well. I can feel how you feel. I share your emotions. And I feel it because I have lived through it when I was a teenager like you. And I managed to get out of the storm. So can you." The letter I gave to him, not directly, I slipped into his bed pillow so they can see on top of the pillow. And a few days later, he wrote me back a letter. He said, "Dear Dad, I'm so surprised that you replied to my letter," which means that he thought I would ignore him, as some parents may say, "This is your problem, or you can't do it. Why bother me?" But he said, "I'm surprised. I read into your suggestions, and I think we can work together and go along." So we worked together. Over the months, I slowly put confidence back to him, raised his confidence, raised his ability to express himself, raised his feeling of happiness and being a part of the family. And with this experience and all the 50 years of experience, I distilled it into a system called the 4 steps. The 4 steps to calm teenage anxiety and strengthen resilience. So in these 4 steps, what are they? The 4 steps, I call it SOAR, S-O-A-R. S-O-A-R, so that we can remember it well. As a pilot, I soar, I've been flying, I must soar. If I do not soar, I will be dropped from the sky. So soaring is one of the objectives, and I soar a lot up in the sky. So S stands for stability and stabilize. Stabilize is calm his mind, stabilize his mind so that he doesn't fall deeper into the emotional abyss and fall into the tunnel. Because stability is one of the most important part. So that he thinks that he's all right, it's not too bad. He can continue. The second step is to organize. Organize to separate his emotional interpretation of the event from the fact itself. Take away the feeling and detach it from the occurrence. For example, the emotion the child may have, he comes back and fails his examination. His emotional statement is, "I am useless. I failed my exam. I cannot go to university." That was what my son said. He said his road to university is foggy. But the fact is that he failed his exam. The event caused him to have that emotional feeling. So separate that and then advise the child how to address the issue on solving the exam. Well, I'll touch on that a bit later. A is anchor. Once we stabilize his mind and help him to separate the emotion from the fact, we got to give him an emotional anchor to hold on to. Something that he feels that he doesn't get drifted away with the storm, with the current. So that emotional anchor is something that he has performed well in the past. For example, although he failed the exam this time, he might have won a championship in mathematics competition in the past. He may have won some sporting events, performed very well there. So we tell the child, "Look, you are not a failure. You have achieved this before. You are a champion mathematics competitor. So look at that, hold on to that, and develop from there, solve the problem from there." And the 4th step is reinforce. Reinforce is to stack up. This reinforce phase takes a bit much longer time. That is to praise him for every win he has, every improvement he has. For example, in a subsequent exam, he improved by 20 marks, marginally passed. They praise him. Although you failed the last exam, you're improving now. So get going bit by bit. So other things as well, whatever he performed, if you notice there's some improvement, go on to praise him, give him confidence and build on. So this SOAR, SOAR, together will over a period of time help build confidence and build emotional resilience in a teenager. It may take months, it may take years, and in most cases, it takes a year or two to build him up. And of course, when he becomes an adult, we continue to guide him as well. Unless you say, don't bother me. If you say, don't bother me, I'm okay, I'm independent, I can do it, then we'll leave him alone. Don't go and keep nagging and chasing him. All right? So, in this situation, I like you to look at these eyes. What are the eyes doing? Close, eyes closed. That was me 18 years ago, eyes closed. So I like to ask you to close your eyes for a moment. Relax. Sit upright, relax. Okay, and breathe in, breathe out to stabilize your breath, stabilize your breathing. Out, in, out, in, out. You're calm now. You're calm now, and you imagine you're a parent of a teenager. Imagine your teenager comes home from school. He puts his bag on the floor and then tells you just one sentence. I messed up in school today. And before you can ask him what it was about, he briskly walked into his own bedroom, shuts the door, and you, as a caring parent, knows what to do. Instead of chasing in to his bedroom and kept asking what it was all about, you just leave him alone. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, while you maintain your composure. Then after 30 minutes, you just go to his bedroom, knock gently on the door, and ask him, son, child, can I come in? Can I come in? And you may be able to hear a feeble word, yes. You open the door gently into the room. The room is warmly lit with yellow lights. The curtains drawn close, and you find him lying in bed, half sitting up, silently, deep in thought. Then you go and sit next to him. You're not there to interrogate him. You're not there to lecture him. You're not there to teach him. You're there telling him, I am here. I am with you. Just these few words. And wait for a moment and see how he reacts. In a while, he calmly opens his mouth and tells you what had happened in school. Acknowledging what had happened in school, you tell him it's all right. Such situations do happen. Time will be able to help you solve it. And after a while, he tells you more details on what happened. And as he opens up, he's actually communicating with you, not withdrawing from you. And as the conversation goes along, you calmly advise him on what to do next, what he could do next. And after a while, he starts to open up. You find that his shoulder is relaxing down, lowered down, tension is less. Your tension is less as well. And he said, Mom, I'm hungry. Do we have something to eat? Yes, you say, yes, of course, son. I prepared for lunch. Let's go and have lunch. And out you go. You have a wonderful lunch. You will help this teenager break a problem, an emotional problem that, if not handled correctly, might have exploded. So close your eyes. Well, now you can open your eyes. And you can feel it, that you're in that position. You can calm the storm and help the child out of the problem. So your presence is very important. Your presence is your present to your teenage child. Your presence is your most important present to your troubled teenage child. Your presence is the oxygen your child is suffocating and trying to get breath. And remember, we were teenagers once. We had gone through different experiences and trauma. How our parents treated us, we have different experiences. But we went through it. We came out well, we're alive, and today we are parents of teenagers. So this is the way. And what I've done is my son, when he started having his children, he adopted the same 4-step method on his children who are now 21 years old and 19 years old. The children grew up very well in their vulnerable teenage years, and they are a good whole family, happy family together. And my son, who had trouble in school last time at A levels, eventually did well in school. He was representing Singapore in a regional speech competition and became runners-up. And later on, he went to university and got his MBA degree. So a person can be transformed if you handle it correctly. And he turned 50 years old last year. I had no better present to give him. Physical things to be used and disappeared. But what I can do is to put something into his deep memory. So I wrote a book distilling all these 4 steps with all the conversation scripts, and including one very important point. The parents are also victims of such emotional adventure. Parents are stressed. The children are not doing well. I'm worried for this child. I'm worried whether he can do it. So in this book, there's a chapter on healing yourself, healing parents, how you can go through. So this particular book was published last year for one special occasion. It was gifted, I gifted it to my son for his 50th birthday. I got it out 3-4 days before his 50th birthday and sold it on Amazon.com. And this book, 500 pages thick. You see, I'm referring to a lot of things. I keep referring to them. This book hit the Amazon top seller, #1 position, 9 days after its launch. And the category it achieved the top selling position was, you might have guessed it, teen, young adult and teen category under the non-fiction group called depression. So I have a few copies of this book here. You can have it if you want. Come and see me after the whole event is over, because I do not want to interrupt the other speakers. All right. So thank you very much for your attention. And remember, your presence is a valuable present to your children. In work, as a leader, your presence is a valuable present to your team. Advance, and all the best wishes to you. Thank you.
You all feel it? You all feel it, right? What he said is really straight from the heart, right? So I learned so much, right, from him. Especially is your presence is your present to your loved ones. Once again, give a big hand to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.